Well, today I finally get to do a video I've been wanting to do for the past couple weeks. I'm finally going to do it. We're going to talk about Tesla stock into depth on what is going on with Tesla over the next 6 to 12 months. If you're a shareholder of Tesla, I think you'll find today's video very, very interesting out there. If you're a short seller of Tesla, it might not be the most interesting video for you guys here today, all right? And by the way, at the end of this video, I just got to talk about narrative in regards to Tesla versus the other tech companies. I think that will be very intriguing. So first off, I am blessed to own Tesla. I'm very thankful. It's my second best stock I have bought in 2018. The only stock I have that's done better than this is Eli, but Eli I bought back in January or February. Tesla, I've hardly held it for any time. So I'm very thankful to be holding Tesla. I have, a decent amount of shares in one account and then a very small amount of shares in another account. We're just doing very, very well. So I'm very thankful to own Tesla, especially with how rough stocks have been over the past, let's say, month or so. If we look, Tesla stock has just been absolute beast mode the past month, right? Going from around $250, $260 range to now it's up over $350 in literally a month's time, all right? Meanwhile, almost every other company you could possibly find is down substantially. You look at where Apple's fallen, it's fallen massively over the past month. Google, same deal. Amazon, same exact situation. Facebook, same situation. All these massive tech companies have just been falling. If we look at even some of the hot stocks, like something like Nvidia, it's down massively the past month. Netflix down, an unbelievable amount the past month. It's just stock after stock really the past month or so has gone down. It's hard to literally find any stocks that have gone up over the past month, and especially ones that have gone up 20, 30, 40% in a past month like Tesla has, guys. So let's just quickly recap what's happened over the past few weeks, and then we'll get into what to look forward to over the next 6 to 12 months. So to quickly recap here, why the stock has gone up so much in the past few weeks, okay? First off, we had earnings come out, and these earnings blew the doors off, all right? We're talking about adjusted earnings of $2.90 a share. That was versus what analysts were expecting to have a loss of 19 cents, okay? Analysts were expecting them to lose money, and they made a ton of money. Revenue came in at $6.82 billion. Analysts had expected around $6.33 billion, so they had about a $500 million beat there on revenue. Also, revenue surged 70% quarter over quarter, and it more than doubled year over year. There are very few companies in the entire world right now that have these type of revenue numbers. And honestly, if you're looking at companies the size of Tesla, no one is doing even remotely close to these type of numbers where they're doubling up their revenue year over year. You just can't find this stuff anywhere, guys. It's growth on a parabolic level. It's growth on a different level that any company has right now, and most companies have ever had, all right? Also, we've seen some Tesla short sellers actually throw in the towel, all right? We've seen several Tesla short sellers actually cover their shares, all right? And just say we're done with that short position. We either made money or we lost some money, whatever, we're getting out of it. But we've also seen a couple very well-known short sellers who were very bearish on Tesla actually flip, not only to cover their shares, but actually go long Tesla shares, citing how much, Tesla's kind of owning the competition, how, the competition is just so far behind Tesla and whatnot. So that is one of the biggest things you can see out there when you have well-known short sellers actually go from a position where they were short the stock, and then in a matter of a month or two, they literally flip-flop and they go positive on the stock, all right? So between what happened with earnings and then you have short sellers all of a sudden, covering and then saying, hey, we're actually going long shares, that has freaked out a lot of people. It has caused more short sellers to cover. When short sellers cover shares, they have to buy back the shares that they originally shorted, which can end up pushing up the price more and more. And then on top of that, Elon Musk over the past month has, cleaned up things. He, settled with the SEC. He got all that behind the company with that whole situation. He hasn't done anything in the past, several weeks and pretty much the past month to make investors say, oh, we got to sell off Tesla shares because Elon Musk did something crazy. So you have a lot of positivity now starting to get into Tesla stock. And a lot of people will still wonder if Elon never sent that tweet, if Elon never sent that we're going private at $420 tweet, if he never sent that, a lot of people feel like Tesla shares would be well over $400 right now. A lot of people feel like Tesla shares right now would be $400, $450, somewhere around there. But because he sent that tweet, it just put a big, huge negative narrative around the company in the short term, all right? So the question is, what is coming in 2019, all right? right? Well, first off here, we'll have earnings that will probably come out somewhere around the end of January, maybe very beginning of February, all right? And these earnings are going to recap the October, November, December months for Tesla. The first thing I find very interesting is analysts are only expecting Tesla to make around $2.06 per share of EPS, all right? Now, keep in mind, the last quarter they did $3.09, all right? Now, a lot of people felt like Tesla will probably make more money this October, November, December quarter than they actually made in the July, August, and September quarter. So this will be very interesting to see. Analysts are not even expecting them to be as profitable. And if you know Tesla, they improve in a very massive way. Their production, the way they do things, even a lot of their pricing power and whatnot. So it would be interesting to see maybe they come in with another big beat there, all right? Now, something else I think is very interesting is in the March quarter, analysts are only expecting the company to do around $1.55 of EPS. Keep in mind here, they're going to probably start deliveries to Europe and maybe even some to China for the Model 3 in that quarter, all right? Now, obviously, shipping costs could go way up, to ship the cars that are made in Fremont, California to Europe, to China, because obviously, Tesla doesn't have factories up and running in those places yet. They will in about a year or two, but as of right now, they do not, right? Keep in mind, some of those vehicles, those Model 3s, are going to be the highest end Model 3s. So if analysts are just counting on those cars are going to be sold at a loss or very small profit, I would say they're probably going to be very profitable Model 3s because they're probably going to be the highest of the highest end. Tesla generally does that. Now, at the same time, you risk maybe the $35,000 Model 3 comes out around that time, roughly. I'm not even sure it will be baked into that quarter. So that might be a very low number for that March quarter. Next thing I think is interesting is analysts are expecting around just over $7 billion in revenue for this current quarter. That would be up just barely, very, very slightly versus this past quarter, right? But then the March quarter, they're only expecting basically the same number or even a little bit less. Now, keep in mind, Tesla probably has a ton of demand still coming from the States that they'll be filling into at that particular time, right? But then on top of that, they have Europe, then they have possibly some China deliveries in that same quarter. So I think that they are basically not going to grow quarter over quarter as far as revenue goes. That's a little surprising to me. So we're looking at a situation where analysts do not have their numbers at stages where it's like, oh my gosh, that's going to be impossible for Tesla to hit that, or that's going to be super hard for Tesla to hit those numbers. When I look at the numbers over the next couple quarters, I'm looking at it, I'm like, Tesla might be able to beat these type of numbers pretty easily. That should be very interesting, all right? We also have some news that just came out here a couple days ago that Tesla has opened up Model 3 orders to customers in China. This is very big news, all right? Elon Musk tweeted back at somebody that asked him a question. He said, we're probably going to have some deliveries on Model 3s in March, but April is more certain. So you could have some deliveries of the Model 3, especially the higher end models, come toward the end of March and in that quarter, right? But it looks like for sure that April quarter is when they'll start delivering to China in mass there. Tesla already put out this. They said Tesla Model 3 fever is sweeping across Europe and China as it gears up for possible March deliveries. These are some scenes from Europe. Look at these pictures here. You can tell, people are very excited in Europe for the Model 3 coming out. The stores are absolutely jam-packed. Lines around the door. Reminds me of Apple back in the day when they would show off some of their new products and iPhones and things like that. It's just, it's a lot of excitement over there in Europe for the Model 3, and that's just can be a massive market. Elon Musk educated me on that last conference call. He kind of poked at the numbers and he said there's a chance that Tesla can actually have a much bigger market in Europe than the United States, because the United States, so many people drive SUVs, so many people drive trucks. So in terms of Model 3, passenger cars are so much of a bigger thing out in Europe. So the way Elon Musk looks at it, he's saying, man, we can actually be Europe can actually be a much bigger market for Model 3 than the United States of America. And I looked at the numbers, and the numbers just kind of show proof in the pudding there that, man, Europe has a chance to be literally, they could be like a 2x market in terms of Model 3 sales compared to the United States, because just so many people drive trucks so many people drive vans, so many people drive SUVs in the United States, whereas Europe is a much bigger passenger car market. That is very exciting. Then it looks like in the late spring or maybe early summer, we should finally get the $35,000 base Model 3, all right? Now, this is the Model 3, keep in mind, that the masses really want. Not everybody wants a $50,000, $60,000 plus Model 3, right? Not everybody can afford that one. Not everybody's willing to pay that. But you have a gauntlet of people that are willing to pay $35,000 or something under $40,000 for a Model 3. So this is going to be very, very exciting to see what type of numbers, as far as production numbers, Tesla ends up starting to put up toward the back half of 2019 based upon actually starting to sell those $35,000 models. That is going to be very interesting, all right? Then on top of that, we should have Model Y be shown off, I would say sometime in early spring, maybe even March, maybe sometime in March, maybe April. I would very much expect them to show off Model Y sometime in the first half of 2019 because they are expected to get that into actual production in 2020. And if we know Elon Musk, generally he likes to show off the vehicles at least 6 to 12 months before they actually start producing them. Then they can start taking reservations, start getting an idea for demand and things like that. So Model Y, in my opinion, is going to be one of the biggest opportunities for Tesla over the next few years as far as boosting those production numbers up to ridiculous levels, all right? Then on top of that, we have the Semi. More information on the Semi, all right? We just had Albertsons place an order for around 10 of the Semi trucks that are all electric, right, that Tesla makes. Keep in mind, someone like Albertsons has over 1,400 trucks in their fleet, all right? That's just one grocery store out there. Think about how much of a huge market this could be in the future as far as their semis, our electric semis. We have basically almost every single big company is placing orders for the Semi, but small orders right now because they want to try them out, they want to get used to them and whatnot. So as far as Semi revenue, I would not expect those numbers to be big in 2019 at all right? They'll probably be very small and maybe even in 2020, but 2021 and past, once a lot of these retailers and a lot of these, and think about these massive trucking companies, right, that have huge fleets of trucks. We're talking 10,000 plus. Once these guys get to actually try the all-electric Semi and kind of, realize it's the real deal and whatnot, I think we'll start to see big volumes for that probably 2021 and past. So it's exciting to kind of see what the progress is there in 2019 and then who's ordering more. Pretty much every big company out there is going to be ordering at least some of the electric Semis to try them out, all right? And also, what do you guys think about this illustration Theo Chin and Chris Doan Automotive ended up doing? Do you guys think this is a good-looking Tesla truck? This is just an illustration here. I think it's very intriguing there. Is that something like Tesla's going to put out there in the market or not? What are your guys' thoughts about that picture? But it's going to be interesting to see if we get any more information around the Tesla truck. It seems like Elon Musk is very, very excited about that. He spoke on the conference call recently about how excited he is. Does that get shown off at some point in 2019? I doubt it. I don't think it will. I think the truck will probably get shown off in sometime in early 2020. I think 2019 will kind of be more about the Model Y, and then maybe 2020 can be more about the truck, all right? Now, let's talk about something very, very big that we didn't discuss here, all right? This is something I like to call narrative. The narrative is going so much in Tesla's direction right now. What do I mean by this? Well, think about all the big tech companies out there. A lot of them have sold off, and a lot of fund managers and a lot of high net worth individuals and whatnot have money sitting on the sideline right now, ready to deploy it. They're looking at some of the big tech names out there. They're thinking Apple, and right now the worry around Apple is, oh my gosh, they can't grow iPhones and whatnot. So a lot of people are like, I don't really want to invest in Apple. A lot of people are looking at Google and Facebook and saying, you know what, I don't think I want to invest in those companies because, of possible regulations coming and things like that. We've seen Europe, do some very questionable regulations around maybe possibly Google and Facebook and anybody that's in the advertising industry online. So we have a lot of people looking at Apple, Facebook, Amazon, and Google and saying, do I really want to put money in those companies? Maybe not. And then you see a lot of the smaller names that have just kind of gotten destroyed because of maybe some slowing growth there, or maybe the China worries and whatnot. And then you have this company named Tesla, and the narrative is totally going toward them. They're the ones with the massive, massive growth, right? They're the ones that profitability is starting to increase in a dramatic way, right? They're the ones that are kind of almost seen as the good boys out there on the block, right? Whereas everybody vilifies, Google or or Facebook or some of these companies, especially Facebook right now, right? Oh my gosh, you know, Facebook's such a bad company. And everybody kind of looks at Tesla, and it's really hard to poke at them and say, oh, that's a bad company, right? Because they're, you know, changing the world. They're trying to get everybody on electric cars. They're trying to get, you know, expand solar. You know, solar, we didn't even talk about the solar business. That could be something that could become much, much bigger in 2019, right? And so Tesla right now, the narrative is coming to Tesla, which means, guess what ends up more than likely happening? More and more money floods into Tesla because some of the, you know, these other big tech names, people are just saying we don't want to be in those because growth has come down so much in those companies, or they have other questionable problems. And you look at Tesla, and all of a sudden it's like, look at this company, look at the way they're expanding market share, look at the, you know, the demand they have for their products, look at all the exciting products they have coming down over the next 2 to 3 years. And people, and a lot of investment managers and a lot of people that run money in general are going to look at this and they're saying, you know, Tesla looks pretty interesting here. So I found, if anything, in 2019, I could almost see Tesla becoming a crowded trade, meaning it just kind of like, you know, almost like too many people get involved with the stock, and it creates a crowding situation. We see this a lot in the stock market where you'll just see a stock just continue to fly up and fly up because it becomes a crowded trade and just everybody wants to get in it, and the narrative just starts to turn in such a big way, right? We've seen it with Nvidia in the past, we've seen it with AMD in the past, and you know, we could go through a million different companies we've seen it with in the past. Amazon, for instance, this past year, Amazon went from, you know, something around $1,000 to then it was trading over $2,000. Now it's around $1,500. Where some of these trades just, you know, get so much excitement in it, and it just ends up creating a situation where the trade gets crowded. So it'll be very interesting. But if, in my opinion, if anything, Tesla will see a lot more money flooding into it just because of the narrative and people starting to realize this, and even short sellers start to realize this and say, man, there's so many positives going on here over the next 5-10 years. How can we short these? How can we short these shares right now? We might get our heads handed to us in this whole situation. So anyways, I want to know your guys' opinion down there in that comment section. Let me know what your opinion is on Tesla stock, especially over 2019. I would love to hear from you guys in that comment section. As always, thank you for watching and have a great day.